Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. Yes, so in this week's video we're going to be looking at the Wavlink AX3000 Home Mesh Network, and that got me thinking, yes, it's a home network, but can I use it when we go away camping? So the rationale about why we've gone for this system, if you're not too up to date with exactly what this is, so normally your broadband provider would give you a router that would sit probably sort of in your lounge or closest to the road where they've got access to delivering that circuit, and then everything connects to that. But what you may find is if you go into the sort of kitchen area or your garden, or as you go higher up in the house, you might find that your connectivity starts dropping off, and it's not as fast as you would have liked. Now for us, this is a two-story property. I've got 4 kids, as you hopefully, or you may or may not have known, and the amount of devices going through this system is sort of pretty high. Now to have just one in the front lounge as we've got here, that isn't going to work for us. We'd definitely have poor connectivity. So with a mesh system, what happens here is you have a number of boxes that interlink with each other, and then your devices connect to those boxes. So not everything is trying to come back to this central point. And obviously you're supposed to space them through the house, so again they stay connected with a good connection. So you just need to think about where you place those. So for us, obviously I've got one here in the front lounge, I've got one in Jack's room which is on the first floor, and I've got one in Izzy's room which is on the second floor, and then that sort of has that link all the way up to the top property, but there's a direct link with each one, so it has that really good strong signal, and then everything then links to those things, but also it enables you to do roaming. So a lot of your devices will be static and they won't move, but things like tablets and phones, you're able to then just walk up through the house, and then the actual devices will then switch to the different access points throughout the property, so you've always got that best signal. And obviously the idea with that is to try and eliminate sort of the dead spots that you might have in your house, and sort of reliability, as I just said. So having a mesh system is definitely probably something to look at if you're struggling to have good internet throughout your property. So we've had different mesh systems in the past, and they were starting to fail on us, so I needed something new, and I've gone for this. I've been testing this for about 8 weeks now, and actually the feedback and how that's performed has worked out really well. We've got Alexas within the different rooms, just so again we can chat with the kids and the kids can play music and so forth. One of the pet heads for me is bellowing up the stairs to the different kids' rooms, so I will often be sort of dropping into different rooms just to let them know that dinner's ready, or having a conversation if I can't be bothered to walk up 2 flights of stairs each time, just to have a simple conversation. And these devices have been sort of set up with that in mind, and I'm sure it'll be the same with Google as well. It just seems to be anything that I throw at it seems to sort of work flawlessly without any issues. And I'm not sure if you've used that feature before. Obviously you drop into the room and it starts spinning, and obviously you want that connection straight away. You don't want it to be thinking about sort of connecting to other devices, and that's where this has worked really well. So I'll go over some of the other features that this offers, but also I'll do a few tests just so again you can see the different speeds that this offers, as well as the features that are built in. So in terms of the spec and what this offers, this is what it looks like. So again, if you want to have a quick read through that, feel free to pause the video, but let me show you exactly what that looks like in terms of the ports and settings on the actual device itself. So this is what you'll see on the back of the box once you've got it all plugged in. Now what's quite nice is you actually get a proper on-off switch. The majority of the devices these days, a case of it's you just plug it in and it powers up, and sometimes that can be quite annoying when you're trying to do different things, configuration and so forth. So you've actually got a proper on-off switch. You've got a reset, so again if you get any misconfiguration and you want to start again, you can hit that. The button next to that allows you to add additional devices. So like I say, you don't have to get these in 3 packs straight away. You might start off with one, then get a second one, and then just see how that works. And then you can add depending on, like I say, how big the property is and if you've got any dead spots. So again, it's about sort of probably start small and see how you get on. And then you've got your different LAN ports as well, and it's the same for every device that you buy, so all three have the same config. It's just depending on how you set these up. Now, in terms of setup, this has to be one of the most simplest that I've had, and where you normally sort of takes the additional time is when you're adding additional access points through the property. But this one was just a case of, yeah, once it's all configured, as you turn the second and third box on, it was automatically configuring to your network, instead of you having to then actually go and do a search for that device, add that one, then go find the third one, and so forth. These were all sort of all automatically paired up once you got the first one up and running. And like I said, I've actually taken the router from the broadband provider out, and it's just using these three access points. And to set them up, once you've got the first one in place, you would turn it on. It would then appear in your Wi-Fi as an option, and then you would connect to that. Now, in the box, obviously you get the quick guide, and it will tell you exactly what the access point is called and how to get actually connected with the password and so forth. When it comes to actually setting these up, you can either use the app or you can use a laptop along those lines. I found the laptop easier because it gives you probably a few extra additional features, and it's just a bit easier to read on that screen. But you can do it via a phone as normal, and then the phone gives you sort of, I would say, probably about 98% of what you would get on the laptop itself. There's a few additional features that you don't get, like the VPN side of things, and a few other items, but the majority you can access via the phone app, and you can use that remotely if you turn that on. I've got that switched on so I can see exactly what's happening at home if there's any issues. So once you are connected, it will run through the standard sort of wizard. It will ask you what you want your Wi-Fi network to be called, give it a password as normal. Now, a nice little tip here is, obviously, if you're replacing something that's existing, if you keep the ID and the password the same, then you don't have to reconfigure any of your other devices. It's just a case of once that boots up and it has the internet connection, all your devices should automatically connect into that box. So that saves you a bit of time if you go down that right route. And then, yeah, once you've gone through the basics of the setup, it should just do a reboot. It will come back up, and yeah, you should be able to see that on your phones and your other devices, or still on the laptop. You'll see the device count start increasing as things start connecting. But it's entirely your preference whether you give it a complete new setup or not. So one cool feature I've seen on this, which I've used quite a lot and quite like, is the actual touch feature. And this is what enables you to set up a guest network, and you're not having to give out passwords all the time. What you're able to do is actually just touch the top of the device, and it doesn't matter which one it is, depending on how many you've got. And what it enables is a sort of a time period which you can set, and all you do then is just put a tablet or a phone next to that device, and it'll automatically connect to your network automatically. A bit like when you share passwords on iPhones and other Google products as well. But again, you just touch it, put the device next to it, it auto joins. So you don't actually have to do anything apart from just that initial touch. And normally you can go to the settings and see how long that sort of allows that access for. Normally I've set this for 30 seconds and then it will switch off. So it's not like anybody walking past can just connect to your network. That's not the case. So it is secure from that perspective. But yeah, anybody coming around just enables them to just jump on without you having to do anything or share any passwords. And like I say, as it's a guest network, you're able to sort of keep it separate from the main network as well. So again, you've got a bit more control over who's connected to what. So once you've set up the guest network, on the router page, you'll see an option that says touch. And then it's exactly that. You come in, you touch the top, you're able to go into your phone. Now we've called it Wobble Box Touch. You go in, give it a connect, and there it comes straight through without having to put any passwords or anything in. So yeah, quite a nice feature. And like I say, you can set how long that allows access for. Yeah, nice little feature if you've got people coming around. One less thing that you have to worry about. So at the beginning of the video I did say about using one of these devices to go camping with, and you can actually do that based on one of the features that this offers, and that's the clone feature. So when you go into the router, under one of the options at the top, which I'll show you in a bit, it gives you the clone option, and what that does is allow you to put the unique MAC address of the device that you're using into it. So what would happen here is you would attend site as long as they've got an internet offering. If it's free, then happy days. Then again, you probably wouldn't need to do this. If it's a paid service, which 9 times out of 10 these days it is, you're able to then use your phone to connect to that. So you'd pay for one connection only for the week or however long that you need it for. Once that's all up and running, you would then forget the wireless network on that device, and then on the router you would put the MAC address of what your phone is. And it sounds quite complicated, but it's not, because as long as you've accessed that before, the router will actually have the details of your phone or the device that you're going to use. So then once you've disconnected your phone, you turn on the router fires up, and then the Wi-Fi that you're trying to connect to will think it's your phone when actually it's your router. And once that's connected, you're then able to connect to that with all your other devices. So you just pay for the one, but you have multiple on there. So again, saves you a little bit of money, but you will need to test it out, because obviously, yeah, every site will have different systems, and some may be a bit more clever than others, but in theory, that's how it works, and it's something that we've done in the past, so you might want to check that out. So let's do a couple of broadband speed tests. So this is right next to the device. Let's see what we get here. So we're getting nearly 100 meg download, and the same pretty much for upload as well. So now we are out in the kitchen. Let's see what happens now. So again, the connection's pretty good still. Hasn't really changed a great deal from when we did it in the front lounge. Right, up on the first floor. Still a really good solid connection. So now I'm at the top of the house in the loft. As you can see, it doesn't matter where I've got in the house, the internet speeds have remained the same, and so is the connectivity. Always a very, very strong signal. So let's try it at the back of the house as well, and see what we get. So we're still getting 100 meg, well, over that now. The house and the different floors it's actually on, you got to think the router is actually right at the front of the house as well, and we're still getting 100 meg. So we're now in my junk room, and this is a room off the side the house, and it's got a few different walls to go through in terms of back to the main router, but this would always be a room that I'd struggle with in terms of connectivity, and now it's pretty much either a full signal or near enough there, which I never had before using this new system. And again, internet here is not an issue either. Like you say, it's of a fast speed. So yeah, really nothing to complain about. So if you are looking for a new setup, this might be a product that ticks all the boxes for you as well. Like I say, at the moment I've been using it for about 8 weeks. I've not had any issues in terms of how it works and reliability. As you've seen, broadband speeds have been consistent. Wi-Fi signal being consistent, whether you're on the bottom floor, top floor, rear of the garden. So again, that's definitely a key factor for me, especially in the summer when we're having barbecues and you might have Wi-Fi speakers out there as well. Again, this is going to tick all those boxes for you. Some of the features, like I say, some of the touch to enable internet connectivity for guests, again, really good. It has Open VPN, so again, you can configure that if that's something that you want to have a look at. It's got parental controls, so again, if you want to turn off the internet at certain times, if you have children, you can do that as well. So it does seem to have everything that you would expect and more in terms of a standard router. And like you say, you can take it camping. It has that functionality on there, and that's something that I'll look to explore in the summer months when we go away next, just so we can see how that actually holds up. And when it comes to the actual setup, like I say, I think I had this up and running within about 5 minutes. Literally connect to it, run the wizard, let it restart, let it boot up, and then all I did then was take out the second access point, put that on the first floor, plugged it in, and then it automatically linked back through to this box, and the same with the third one. And it was up and running, like I say, before I knew it. And because I kept the Wi-Fi name the same and the password, all the devices just started connecting straight away. So that is a bit of a quick win in terms of, yeah, if you keep that the same. But again, that's entirely up to you. You might go for a complete new setup, a new name, and then you've just got to go through every single device in the house and reconnect it. But it depends on how many you've got. But yeah, if you've got any questions on any of this in terms of, yeah, how it works or how to configure it, then yeah, drop me a message below. Like I say, I'm sure I can come back and help where I can. But yeah, if not, we'll call it quits for this week, and I will see you all on the next one. And remember, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends. Cheers all.